morning. Today is the first of many days where we are going to be focusing on factoring. So the first method we're going to learn is called greatest common factor. And so this is when I take an expression, a polynomial with multiple terms, and I turn it into a product of factors instead of sum of terms. So what we do in this case is we look first for the greatest common factor between our coefficients. Then we look for any common variables, and we can take out the lowest power of the common variables. So let's jump straight into some examples. Here on example A, I have 16y squared minus 24y. Between the 16 and the 24, my greatest common factor is 8. And between y squared and y to the first power, my lowest power is y to the first power. So if I take that out, I find what's left on the inside by dividing that term by what I factored out. 16y squared divided by 8y is going to leave me with 2y. And negative 24y divided by 8y is going to leave me with minus 3. And these are really great because you can check your answer by distributing what you factored out, and you can make sure that it is the same expression that you factored to begin with. If that's the case, you know you have the correct answer. Let's look again on example B. 12x squared y plus 28xy squared. Between the 12 and the 28, my greatest common factor is 4. Between x squared and x, my lowest is x to the first power. And then between y and y squared, my lowest power is y to the first power. So what's that going to leave me with? On my first term, if I divide by 4xy, I'm going to be left with 3x. And on my second term, if I divide by 4x squared, I'm going to be left with 7y. Again, distribute what you factored out to make sure it gets you the same result as what you started with. Moving on to C, between negative 8ab, negative 6ab squared, and 4b, I'm going to factor out a negative 2. That's my greatest common factor between the coefficients. Then I only have a on the first two terms. I don't have an a on the third term, so I cannot factor it out. But I do have b squared, and b, so I can take out, I didn't leave room for it, but I can take out a b. So I'm going to take out negative 2. That one is empty. Come on, whiteout, work with me here. There we go. Negative 2b. And on my first term, that is going to leave me with 4a. On my second term, I have 3ab. And on my last term, I just have a negative 2. All right, on to D. Negative 10x to the fifth minus 5x. I can factor out a negative 5x. And that's going to leave me with 2x to the fourth minus 1. Or excuse me, plus 1, because I took out the negative. So again, for all of these, you could distribute what you factored out to check your answer. All right, the last thing we're looking at here, the area of a triangle with width w is given by 32w minus w squared. Now remember, the area for a rectangle is length times width. So if I want to factor this expression to determine the length of the rectangle, my area was 32w minus w squared. Well, the common factor here is w. So if I take out a w, that leaves me with 32w, just 32 minus w. So here's my width, which means this expression, 32 minus w, is my length. So if I were to draw a rectangle, here's my width, w, my length is 32 minus w. So the length, 32 minus w. And that's it for our notes on factoring with greatest common factor.